When did you start having a phone?
We had a phone in the rental house. It was a big thing to have phones in those days because you needed a job. Bell Telephone had to see that you had an income in order to pay for a telephone. Therefore, my sisters were now starting to date and therefore wanted a phone. And so my mother then having a better job, that's where I remember getting a phone. The phones in those days had what you call party lines, where a phone rang, 2 rings together, stop, 2 rings together, stop, 2 rings together. That was for you. 1 ring, stop, 1 ring, stop was for the party line. If you happened to pick up the phone for a 1 ring, the other person was on there, see? And so that was called a party line. If you ever picked up your phone to make a call, the other people were on. Sometimes you had 3 people on the same line. They did not have the lines that they have separately for individual homes today. When we were in Aunt Peg's house, you got your phone calls, important phone calls, at the corner drugstore. We were second house from the corner. So they had telephone booths facing the street, and you could see them from my house, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it was a booth that would be glass, and you would see a person on the phone. And therefore, whenever you wanted to make any extra money, if you were outside, which I was second house from the corner, the proprietor of the drugstore would call me, Teresa, go call so. And I would run, because you knew everybody in the neighborhood, you were raised there. And so I would go, and it usually would be a young girl, because I was young then, but I'm saying a gal in her 20s that maybe was seeing someone or maybe had a job, I don't know. But you would run to her and tell her she was one on the telephone, and she would come out. You would leave the receiver, dangle, and she would come out, and she would always get money to give you because you went and got her. So it was a good, you pretty well stayed close to that drugstore because you made some nice money of running for a phone call. And it was maybe a doctor. It may have been some emergency and maybe an aunt and uncle's home that lived in West Philadelphia or North Philadelphia, whatever. And that was the only phones that I ever remember when I was young.